Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thanks for stopping by. So today I got a project I'm working on, and we're talking lighting. If you guys have watched previous videos, you know that I have a dual Frontrunner roof rack system bolted on the Gladiator behind me. So for a while now I've been wanting to add some basically marker clearance type lights, just because the vehicle with the racks especially is a little bit taller than stock. I bought about $30 or so worth of kind of Amazon LED lights, along with just some hardware I picked up from Lowe's, just some kind of stainless steel sheet metal screws, and about 100 feet of 20 gauge wire. So what I have planned, I'm going to try and get these satellite kind of lights wired together on the roof rack, basically run them to a common positive and a common ground, and then take those two wires into the engine bay from the roof rack to plug into the S-Pod. And I'm going to put that on my last switch on the S-Pod. So I'm going to walk you guys through kind of what that looks like, what materials I'm using, and then I'll kind of show you guys the finished product. So hopefully it turns out good. Let's get started. All right, so these are the lights themselves. I think what I have planned, I'm going to go ahead and mount these kind of high. And basically when I send the screws through, they should basically just pop through this channel. They're only about, I think, 3/4 inch thick screws. Honestly, it might not even get all the way through, just because, you know, the light itself is probably, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch thick. So should be a good bit of room for air. But anyway, so yeah, I plan on sending 2 screws through, and then I'm basically just gonna drill, I think I'm gonna drill a small hole in the middle to route the wires through, so that I can route them directly into the channel, and then they can, you know, mate up with the wire loom that I already have in here in place. On the front rack, I don't have any in place just yet, but I'll be dropping some in there. I think it's just 1/4 inch wire loom, so I think it'll be a clean solution. I'll start picking out the places and kind of start sending the screws through.
It only took me about 5 minutes into the project to realize that the self-tapping screws that I had purchased were not going to cut it. The screws just couldn't get through the rack, and I completely sheared the head off of one of the screws trying. Luckily, I was able to back the screw out with a set of pliers. Admitting defeat, I took a quick pause to make another run to the hardware store to pick up some new screws. I decided the best course of action would be to drill all the way through the sides of the rack using slim nuts inside of the channels to fasten the lights to the roof rack itself.
Okay, so here's the idea I got so far. So I have 3 holes drilled, one for each mounting screw, obviously, and then just kind of an access hole to run the wires into the top channel. So I'm gonna pull those out, get those spliced, and then, you know, I'm able to route the cables essentially through this channel. And I'll probably just route them around the side and then send them over kind of up there to meet some of the other wires that I have going under the hood. So I'm gonna get the nuts back here, get this tightened down, and we'll start routing these wires. All right, here we go. First one is in place. So I'm gonna have one in the same spot on the other side, and then basically 2 evenly spaced ones. I've actually kind of already, I think, changed my mind as far as how many I'm gonna mount. I think for now I'm just gonna stick with the front and the rear. So I'm gonna have four of them in the rear, and then 4 from the front, basically placed identically. So, and you can see, got the stainless steel hardware in here, just with kind of a slim nut back here. Just use needle nose pliers to hold that in place, and then I can get a wrench on it to tighten it down. And again, there's the kind of the wires routed through with a nice kind of waterproof sort of gasket, compression gasket here that's protecting the circuit board. So it's honestly a pretty nice light. I'm actually pretty happy. I'll install the rest of them, get the wires kind of run to a common wire, and then I'll just go from there as far as routing. All right, so I got the first sets of wires crimped. White is the ground, red is power, positive. So these are from the lights on the front. So you can see the four amber lights there. Kind of how I pointed out. Basically, I just have them running through the channel and then basically picking up in the loom as I go across. And they're all, all stacked in here, all protected. So, and it's just running basically the length and width of the rack. So these are 20 gauge wires. I'm gonna run them to a 14 gauge positive and negative, and then I'm gonna run those to the back, and then that's gonna connect to the 14 gauge wires that I'm gonna run from the rear up here, and then I'm gonna combine both of those into 12 gauge power and ground, and then run those basically kind of along the path that I've used for the rest of my rooftop lights and my rear lights. It's gonna drop drop between the cab and the bed, and then pick up along the passenger side frame rail, and I'm gonna ride that to the engine bay. So I'll keep working that. Hopefully we'll have working lights here before too long. I think it's turning out pretty good. All right, I got the front marker light wires placed in. So while I have the cords kind of up here, just figured I would do a quick test run to the S-Pod, check it out on the switch, and make sure everything works. So I got these ends stripped right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and plug it into the S-Pod, and we'll give it a shot, and I'll show you guys hopefully what the front is supposed to look like. Oh yeah, we got running lights. Knowing that they all work the way that they're intended to, I think it's time to finish getting these wired up, and let's get this project done. All right, so I took the opportunity to kind of clean up some of the wiring that I had up here. Just basically kind of made this, well, it's in the process, making this junction a little bit neater. I had some Positaps on there for the roof lights for the side lighting, but I just decided to pretty much kind of join those like I was doing for the marker lights. So that's a lot cleaner, rather it will be, like I said. So I mean, I have those done right here, the heat shrinked ones. So pretty much what I have left right now, I have the 14 gauge wires for the marker lights, cut the length. I have the 12 gauge cut down here. I kind of went a little bit overkill on it as far as the gauge, I think, but just in case I do decide to add those side marker lights down the road, or if I want to like link in some rock lights or something like that, I just figured I would rather go overkill. So I cut 14 feet of 12 gauge, and that's basically going to bring the wires from here down this gap, and then along the frame rail, and then up into the engine bay. So I'll get started on routing that, and yeah, get these lights tested and finish up. All right, so I just finished up the wiring behind me as far as kind of getting them spliced in together. So I have the leads basically laying out. I haven't routed them just yet, but I'm gonna do one last test. Basically just take them to the engine bay the old fashioned way, just walk it down there. And I'm gonna plug this into the S-Pod, and we're gonna check out all the lights and make sure everything works. So now all I have left is to route the wires. All right, all the connections are made. Got everything heat shrinked. Toss the cover back on. We'll hop in the cab and we'll give this a shot. All right, guys, another project wrapped up. So you guys know the drill. If you want to see more modifications that probably don't need to be done, but I'm gonna do anyway because I think they're cool or might be useful, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Feel free to click the bell if you guys want notifications when I post these new videos. And as usual, more content to come. So I got another couple ideas. And up next, I think I'm gonna put together basically kind of an all-encompassing build update as far as how the build's been progressing since I think the last video I did that over was about August. So it's come a pretty long way. So I'll probably break that up into multiple parts, do an exterior, an interior, maybe some electronics. Not sure just yet, but keep an eye out for that. So like I said, if you guys want to see that, if you want to be notified when that comes out, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for stopping by, guys. My name's Marshall. I'll see you next time.